Think about how quickly you can recognize a scene. A blurry photo flashes on a screen. At first, you don't know exactly what it is, but you can already tell there are edges, light and dark regions, maybe something upright in the middle. A moment later, as the image sharpens, you see a blurry face. Then, a moment later, you see your friend standing in front of a building. Your brain didn't identify every pixel one by one. It moved through layers of understanding. That simple fact turns out to connect two subjects that seem worlds apart: deep learning and modern physics. Here's the surprising idea. One of the main reasons deep learning works is that it uses a strategy very similar to one that physicists use to understand the universe. And the reason is that both deep learning and physics face the same fundamental problem. Reality contains too much detail. So if you want understanding, prediction, or intelligence, you need a principled way to decide which details matter and which can be safely ignored. That is the whole story in one sentence. Complexity becomes manageable when you organize it by scale. Once you see that, the word deep in deep learning starts to mean something more than big or complicated. It starts to mean arranged in levels, where each level handles a different zoom setting on reality. To see why this matters, start with an image. A high-resolution photograph might contain millions of pixels. If you tried to understand it by treating every pixel as equally important and unrelated to the rest, you'd drown in detail. But the world is kinder than that. Nearby pixels are usually related. They form edges. Edges combine into textures. Textures become parts like eyes, wheels, windows, and fur. Parts combine into objects. Objects combine into scenes. That layered structure is not something we invented for computers. It's already in the world. And physics runs into the same issue. A piece of metal contains an unimaginable number of atoms. The atmosphere contains countless molecules colliding in every direction. If you tried to predict a magnet or a storm by tracking every particle individually, you'd never finish. Yet physicists can still say useful things about pressure, temperature, magnetism, or turbulence. How? By not insisting that every microscopic detail deserves equal attention. And that is a counterintuitive lesson. We often assume that more detail automatically means more understanding. But past a certain point, extra detail becomes noise unless it is organized. A phone book contains lots of information, but not much wisdom. Understanding requires compression. Not random compression that throws things away carelessly, but smart compression that preserves what matters for the question you're asking. Physicists have a famous way of doing this, called renormalization. The name sounds forbidding, but the basic intuition is simple. Imagine zooming out on a map. At the scale of a whole continent, street corners disappear, and national borders matter. Zoom into a city, and highways matter more than mountain ranges. Zoom further into a neighborhood, and now doorways and traffic lights are relevant. There is no single perfect description of the map. The right description depends on the scale you care about. And that is the heart of renormalization. Repeatedly zoom out while keeping the features that still influence large-scale behavior. Another everyday word for this is coarse-graining. Suppose you have a crowd seen from far away. You don't track each person's shoelaces, facial expression, and heartbeat. You summarize groups. There's a dense cluster here, a flow of movement there, a gap opening near the exit. Many tiny details are bundled into a simpler, meaningful description. You lose information, yes, but ideally you lose the kind that doesn't matter for the pattern you're trying to understand. And now return to a neural network. In a good vision system, the early layers often detect very simple patterns such as edges or small color contrasts. The next layers combine those into textures or corners. Higher layers combine those into meaningful parts and eventually into whole objects and scenes. In other words, each layer creates a coarser, more abstract description of the one below it. This is one reason that it is true but incomplete to say neural networks are just curve fitting. They are fitting patterns, yes, but they are also building hierarchies. They are learning what kinds of summaries are useful at each level. That's the deeper bridge to physics. Deep learning works so well in part because the world itself has structure across scales. Images do. Language does. Audio does. Physical systems do. Nearby things tend to be more strongly related than distant things. Small patterns combine into larger ones. Local regularities support global meaning. Depth is a sequence of zoom levels rather than just extra computation stacked for no reason. This is very close to how physicists think when they study systems with huge numbers of interacting parts. Imagine starting with microscopic chaos. Atoms vibrating, spins flipping, tiny interactions everywhere. Then apply a rule. Compress local details, but keep whatever still affects larger scale behavior. Then do it again, and again. As you repeat this, some details wash out, while some patterns remain important. The process traces what physicists call a flow across scales. This is one of the most elegant ideas in physics, because very different microscopic systems can start to look the same when viewed at the right scale. That's one of the big miracles of physics, sometimes called universality. Two materials can have completely different atomic makeup and still behave similarly near a phase transition, like iron becoming magnetized and water evaporating. The details differ, but the large-scale pattern follows the same logic. In machine learning, too, two images can have very different pixel values and still belong to the same category because the system has learned which differences matter and which do not. It has, in a sense, discovered a useful notion of universality. There's an especially striking meeting point between these worlds called MERA, short for Multiscale Entanglement Renormalization Ansatz. The full name is not important. The intuition is. MERA is a way physicists represent very complicated quantum systems by organizing information according to scale. You can think of it as a layered blueprint. Local information is handled locally. Broader, longer-range structure is handled higher up. Information lives at the zoom level where it matters most. A good map works the same way. It doesn't store every blade of grass. It stores highways at one scale, streets at another, building footprints at another. If you dumped every detail onto one flat page, the result would be useless. Structure makes information navigable. And what's remarkable is that a MERA-style physics framework resembles deep neural network architecture, as both address a similar challenge: how to efficiently represent a vast, highly interconnected system without implying that everything depends equally on everything else. Then comes the twist. In physics, these multiscale constructions often run from fine detail to coarse summary. They compress. But an AI generative model can run the same story in reverse. Start with a broad structure and progressively add detail. Think of building a video game world. You don't begin by placing individual blades of grass across the whole planet. Instead, you first define continents, then mountain ranges, then river systems, then cities, then streets, then building details, then textures. Large-scale choices constrain small-scale ones. The world becomes richer as you descend through levels. And that is also a good way to think about certain generative models in AI. Instead of memorizing finished images, they learn how detail gets added at each scale. First, the rough arrangement, then the object layout, then the local features, then the fine textures. Generation becomes a controlled unfolding rather than a magical act of invention. The real currency in both physics and deep learning is correlation. Correlation is just a fancy word for dependence. If you know one thing, does it help you predict another thing better than chance? In an image, if one pixel is dark, nearby pixels are more likely than random to be dark too. In weather, neighboring regions influence one another's pressure and temperature. In a magnet, nearby atoms influence whether their neighbors align. If correlations are mostly local, that is wonderful news. It means you can summarize the world in chunks. You don't need every part to talk directly to every other part all at once. Local patterns can be compressed first, and larger scale structure can be built from those compressed summaries. And this helps explain why deep learning can generalize. A useful model is learning reusable correlation patterns. Curved edge plus eye-like texture plus ear-like triangle plus fur-like patch at the right scale. Those patterns can appear in many new examples. Generalization comes from discovering structure that repeats. And a lot of older approaches, in both physics-inspired modeling and machine learning, were willing to throw enormous computation at messy problems. Sample more. Estimate more. Brute force your way through the tangle. The multiscale perspective says, maybe the tangle has shape. Maybe the reason the problem is solvable at all is that reality is organized. Another way to say this is through the language of hidden causes. Imagine a layered causal story behind an image. At a high level, maybe the scene contains an animal. At the next level, that animal is cat-like, sitting indoors. Lower levels specify a face shape, ear positions, fur patterns, and whiskers. Lower still determines lighting, shading, and exact pixel intensities. Each layer refines the one above it. This is close to what a Bayesian network tries to capture. Visible things arise from hidden causes, arranged in a structured dependency graph. The important constraint is that not everything should depend directly on everything else. If every pixel depended on every other pixel in one giant soup, computation would be hopeless. Structure is what keeps the problem tractable. That also corrects another common misconception. Generative AI models are often described as if they possess a kind of mystical imagination. A better description is that they are structured probability machines. They learn which possibilities tend to go with which others, and they arrange those possibilities across scales. And this leads to a subtle and important lesson. We often talk as if intelligence comes mainly from making AI models bigger. Bigger can certainly help, but scale organization is a different source of power. A system can gain enormous efficiency by dividing the problem into levels, each responsible for patterns at its own zoom setting. Each layer handles a smaller job. Global coherence then emerges from many local decisions working together. You can see this design principle all over modern AI. Vision systems often use image pyramids. U-nets mix fine detail with coarse context. Many generative systems create outputs in multiple resolutions. Hierarchical latent models try to separate broad factors from fine variation. The names differ, but the idea keeps returning. Build representations that respect scale. Physics gives this idea extra depth through phase transitions. Think of water freezing or a magnet suddenly becoming magnetized. Near these transitions, tiny local interactions can produce dramatic global behavior. The whole system starts acting as one. That is emergence, large-scale order arising from many small-scale relationships. Deep learning has an echo of this. A network starts with local cues like edges and textures, yet can eventually form a stable concept like face or chair. The global meaning is not stored in any single pixel or neuron alone. It emerges from layered interactions. And we should be careful not to push the analogy too far. A neural network is not literally a universe, and the brain is not just a renormalization algorithm with a pulse. But the analogy is powerful because it highlights a shared principle. Whether you are studying matter, weather, images, language, or maybe even thought itself, you often succeed by finding the right summaries at each scale. That gives us a new way to frame deep learning. We can think of it as a machine for building compressed, multi-scale descriptions of reality. It learns what to keep, what to discard, and how local patterns combine into broader meaning. And that may be why the connection to physics feels so satisfying. Physics, at its best, explains how simple interactions produce the complex world we see. Deep learning, at its best, exploits the fact that this world is not random static. It is layered. It has neighborhoods, parts, holes, and recurring patterns across scales. So here is the final click. Maybe physics and AI are circling the same deep question from different directions. Physics asks, when you zoom out, what survives? AI asks, when you compress experience, what remains useful? In both cases, understanding is about preserving what matters, and that is the bizarre connection to the universe. Deep neural networks work because they echo a strategy nature itself seems to reward. Build meaning level by level, from the local to the global, from detail to structure, from chaos to pattern. Once you see that, the word deep in neural networks sounds like a theory of how complexity becomes understandable.